It's
These are the
about to
people that
get
were on
very
Epstein
interesting.
Island, confirmed by multiple sources. Bill Clinton, George Mitchell, Alex Baldwin, Ralph Fiennes, George Hamilton, Dustin Hoffman, Kevin Spacey, Liz Hurley, Laura Hutton, Janice Dixon, Naomi Campbell, Christy Turlington, Henry Kissinger, which may be one of the most evil men on the world.
He is, yeah.
Joan Rivers, Courtney Love, Mick Jagger, Courtney Guest, Phil Collins, Simon Le Bon, Charlie Rose of PBS, Richard Branson, Candace Bushel, Tom Ford, Vera Wang, Nadia Byerlin, Co Stark, and here's some more. Seth Green, James Gunn, Dan Schneider, Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Stephen Colbert, Kevin Spacey, Kathy Griffin, Oprah Winfrey, Sean Carter, Beyonce Knowles, Anthony Kiedis, John Legend, Christy Teigen, Jim Carrey, Steven Tyler, Ben Affleck, Stephen Collins, Will Ferrell, Eminem, Jeffrey Jones, Victor Salva, Mark Rector, Charlie Sheen, Tyler Grasham, Madonna, Catherine Hudson, Gwen Stefani, Stefani Germota, James Franco, Will Smith. Oh, has Will Smith been in the news lately? Justin Rowland, John Cusack, Anderson Cooper, Demi Moore, Brian Affleck, Meryl Streep, Wanda Sykes, Chelsea Handler, Michelle Wolf, Pharrell Williams, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Downey Jr. They are petrified of that list and what those films getting out. They have all the videos of all those people and more.
Really?
Yep. It's gonna get ugly. They're in panic mode.
So are they going to release those videos? Or what do they do with them?
I'm told that, well, it's looking like they're holding it back, that one person has control of that, but I'm told other people have them and are going to release them at the right time. So we shall see.
These children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easier to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture, because you have adrenalized blood. You have the whole blood drinking ceremony of the satanic world. It's also the use of children for harvesting body organs. We'll have the Falun Gong testimony tomorrow.
Get down there, little man.
Oh, that's my heat seeker.
Bet it is.
So where are we going?
It's a surprise, baby.
Yeah, I like surprises. Yeah. What the fuck are we doing here? Woo! Look at all that. What the fuck is that?
Kostaskas!
What did you just say?
grown baby.
They've been here, some of them have been here a long, long time. They have lifespans that are thousands of years. They're carnivorous. They are not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here.
Are they carnivorous that eat humans?
Yes. And they need to be, they won't eat a dead human. It has to be alive at the time of the killing.
Open your mind. Open your mind.
I do not have to remind you that we are fighting forces that we do not understand. Anything could happen. But we are fighting forces that we do not understand.
Open your mind.
Anything could happen.
Open your mind.
Their preferences, children. You know, and we've been told, you shouldn't talk about that. You know, there are other people say, well, you better not talk about the reptilians. Well, you know, bull. You know, why not? According to the Andromedans, they're responsible for 31,712 children disappearing in the last 25 years from the United States. These children were food. And I'm supposed to just shut up and not say anything about it because people don't want to hear it? That's tough. That's tough. You know, Westchester County, in the last 5 years, 3,000 children in Westchester County, New York, have vanished without a trace. Where are they going? Why are we allowing this to happen? And why should people stay in denial about it?
Now, how are they able to do this? How are they able to
How are they able to do it? How are they able to come up out of this from underground and do it? Or do they have...
There are tunneling systems everywhere. They're being helped by the Greys, and also there are groups within the higher echelon that are actually helping them acquire this.
So human beings are abducting the kids and giving them to the Greys, who in turn give them to the Alpha Draconans?
That's right. That's part of the deal. They won't come up as long as we feed them down there. You understand? It's about human beings selling themselves out.
Now, can a regressive entity take over a human body? The answer to that is absolutely yes. And the process is actually very simple. They abduct someone, they bring him to death very slowly, and the moment his last breath, his essence, leaves the body, they replace it with another.
Well, night, everybody.
Night, Senator. Take it easy. Good luck next week.
What? Bob Dole doesn't need this.
What's happening? Is it noon already?
Ah.
Oh no, aliens, bioduplication, nude conspiracies. Oh my God, Lyndon LaRouche was right. America, take a good look at your beloved candidates. They're nothing but hideous space reptiles.
I saw them turn into a reptilian. I actually saw the reptilian.
Momentarily it looked regular sized, but then it went back.
Oh, it's starting to go back. Look.
And it's back to regular, just with a couple of blinks.
What is that?
Excuse me.
Just survive.
You know, you look like your head fell on the cheese dip back in 1957. You're okay. This one, f***ing ugly. Oh. You see, I take these glasses off, she looks like a regular person, doesn't she, huh? Put them back on, formaldehyde face. That's what we got.
That's enough out of you. You get out or I call the cops.
Call the cops? You know what you need? You need a Brazilian plastic surgeon.
Ugly.
Europe is under attack. Russia is waging an economic war. Russian gas supplies to Europe are down by 80%. Russia could single-handedly push Europe into recession. This gas war threatens governments and leaders in the EU, and Europe has virtually no defense. Today, Russia announced more supply cuts. The Europeans saw this coming, but that does not make their situation any better. Earlier this month, Russia shut off the Nord Stream pipeline. They said it was for maintenance. Europe feared the supplies will not resume. They did. But now Russia has struck another blow. It has cut supplies further. In fact, these cuts began last month. Quick primer. Russia supplies gas to Europe through Nord Stream 1. It's a gas pipeline. It is operated by Russia's state-owned company Gazprom. Until yesterday, Nord Stream 1 was operating at just 40% of its capacity. Today, Russia has reduced it by half, meaning this pipeline is now operating at just 20% of its capacities. Let me repeat that. From 100% before the war, it went down to 40%, and now it has fallen to 20%. So Europe has now lost 80% of its supply from Russia. The question is, why has Moscow taken this step? To build pressure, to strike a blow. Russia says it is not getting the parts it needs for the pipeline to function. And for that, it blames Western sanctions. So the message is clear. If you want Russian gas, lift the sanctions.
Russia is not interested in stopping gas supplies to Europe. Russia is a responsible supplier of gas, and whoever says what, be in the European Commission, European capital cities, United States of America, Russia was, is, and remains a country that in no small way guarantees Europe's energy security, and not just verbally, but de facto.
Vladimir Putin has been the center of media speculation this week after disappearing from the public eye. However, a group of school children may know where the Russian president is. The Ukrainian students made a cartoon featuring President Putin being abducted from the Kremlin by aliens.
In March 26, 2015, the respectable and authoritative German newspaper Die Welt published an exclusive interview with Lyudmila Putina, former wife of the Russian president. She divorced from him in 2013, but according to her story, that Putin is a body double, who took over real Putin after he was assassinated in 2010.
My husband, unfortunately, has long been dead. I have to admit it publicly, because I could no longer see what is happening on his behalf. 1 month before the death of my husband, they came at night without warning and took him away. They also said I had better not to talk about that with anyone. Later I learned that the murder of Vladimir had been prepared beforehand. He was eliminated when the first body double was almost ready to take his place. In appearance, he was of course very much like Putin. I was impressed. But that was a completely different person.
There is an elitist group of people who definitely believe that regardless of the form and structure of your government and your country makes no difference to these people, and they are not tied to one country, they are everywhere, and they believe that they have been given the birthright, whatever, to rule over men.
The propagation of this race that is controlling things on this planet they're called the Illuminati. And the Illuminati are actually run by these 13 bloodlines, which are all of the royal families in Europe and in England. And they need the blood because they are, in fact, not human. They take human shape. They are reptilians. And they need the blood. The blood helps them maintain their reptilian shape, and it helps them maintain their sanity, and it helps them to live in this world because they are not from this world.
Queen Elizabeth II of England admits she's not human and that we will learn to accept her for what she is. British media reports criticized Vladimir Putin during a 2014 visit to the Queen because of his refusal to help the monarch down the stairs and because he generally keeps his distance from her. But 2 years later, Putin has revealed why he kept his distance from Queen Elizabeth at the gathering. He told close associates and aides that he was alarmed when the Queen showed her true reptilian bloodline colors by shape-shifting a number of times while he greeted her. He claimed the Queen shifted between reptoid and human form 3 or 4 times while meeting with Putin. According to Putin, when the Queen revealed her underlying reptilian nature by shape-shifting, her face turned scary with evil-looking slit eyes and a long, dragon-like snout. Putin said that when Obama held the Queen, her hands turned reptilian green and scaly, and when she smiled, she revealed sharp and spiky reptilian teeth that glistened evilly. Putin accused the Queen of shape-shifting repeatedly as a warning not to mess with her as the high priestess of the world-ruling reptilian Illuminati clique. Princess Diana confided in her friends about the reptilian Queen. Christine Fitzgerald, a brilliant and gifted healer who was a close friend and confidant of Diana for 9 years, was one person to whom Diana told stories of the Queen Mother. Because of Christine's understanding of the esoteric, Diana was able to talk to her about matters she would not dare to share with anyone else for fear of being called crazy. Her nicknames for the Windsors were the Lizards and the Reptiles, and she used to say, in all seriousness, "They're not human." Diana used to tell me, she says, quote, "Diana used to tell me that the Queen Mother was evil," end quote. And these are Christine's own words, quote, "The Queen Mother," now that's a serious piece of wizardry, "the Queen Mother is a lot older than people think. To be honest, the royal family hasn't died for a long time. They have just metamorphosized. It's sort of cloning, but in a different way. They take pieces of flesh and rebuild the body from one little bit, because it's lizard, because it's cold-blooded. It's much easier for them to do Frankenstein shit than it is for us. Don't think of people like the Queen Mother and Queen Victoria as different people. Think of them as the same person, which, after a while, has had to replace their coat. When the flesh dies, that energy, while it's dying, will be immediately upped by someone else's jackasy backside. It's all very vampire, worse than vampire. According to the witness, Prince Philip and Queen Mother then shapeshifted into reptiles. Diana was told that if she ever revealed the truth about them, she would be killed. There are various reports of people saying Diana was about to reveal this information before she died.
At 3 p.m. on May 21st, the most important political meeting in China, the two sessions, started. The sky in Beijing suddenly turned dark, as if it were nighttime. About half an hour later, it started storming with thunder and lightning. After that, it turned dark again. Some netizens commented that heaven is destroying the Chinese Communist Party, as both man and gods are furious with it.
Today, before our eyes, we see God fulfilling His word. But there's a way He's fulfilling it, and I want to say a little about. And the Bible says in Psalm 36, verse 6, God says, the only reason why I judge is to keep man alive. I allow some to die so the majority will live.
A striking and shocking phenomenon has been leaving scientists and people worldwide completely baffled. As waters worldwide have begun to turn into blood, these significant occurrences are most certainly precursors of the trouble.
Sea between Russia and Ukraine turned blood.
In the Azov Sea, between Russia and Ukraine, December 22, 2012, a deadly cold snap took Ukraine by force, killing and causing mass panic, hospitalizing hundreds. Only 3 days later, December 25, 2012, Russia was also hit with its coldest temperatures on record, dropping to nearly 60 degrees below zero. Also August 9, 2012.
A lake in France became blood.
One source said it looks like something extraterrestrial.
God is allowing these things because He's a God of mercy. He's a God of love. He has to cause, come on, I don't have to tell you, I have to tell, but work with me. He has to cause men to wonder. He has to cause men to fear. He has to cause fearful sights to happen upon the earth. But in the midst of this trouble, God said, listen, it seems as if they don't get it, so I'm going to get another sign. And God caused the largest river in the country to become blood. That's what I call it. I'm not going to get too grammatical. To become blood. The Bible said they will become blood.
September 7th, 2012, Yangtze River in China.
The largest river. Never ever seen anything red. For God said in Joel 2:28-29, He said, while I'm pouring out of my spirit upon the people, I'm going to be pouring out wrath. We talk about it in the World Revival Convention. Anybody remember? While there's pouring out, in the last days I'll pour out of my spirit upon all flesh. Then it went on and it said, there shall be signs in the sun, signs in the moon. Come on, somebody. And there shall be blood. Nobody remember? But God is so good that God caused not just destruction of buildings, leaving folks alive, but God caused another sign of blood. Blood always means death. When you're talking about the blood of Jesus, it always means death. It always means worse coming. You don't need a mighty prophecy. The prophecy is already out. It means there's worse coming to China. It means there's worse coming to the East. It means there's worse coming to Asia. It means there's worse coming to the earth.
January 12th, 2013. A powerful avalanche of mud and dirt had taken away 10% of a village in southwest China. Earlier, rescuers drenched in mud swarmed the scene, digging fervently with shovels, looking for signs of life. Instead, they found shredded clothes, wallets and other evidence of those killed in the disaster. November the 18th, 2012. Blood rain also poured out on Sri Lanka, causing astonishment. Furthermore, November the 27th, 2012, in Australia, the beaches suddenly turned blood red and the following interpretation went forth on youtube.com/harvestarmy. November 28th, 2012. The sea turning blood in Australia signifies great distress and perplexity determined upon Australia and neighbouring countries. There is need for national repentance to hold back God's hand. Luke 21:25, and there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roar. January 10, 2013. In the midst of fires burning throughout the land, a tsunami-like dust storm swept over parts of Western Australia. The sinister-looking storm is the result of a thunderstorm, adding dust and sand into the mix. The dust storm apparently developed in minutes and swallowed the entire town of Onslow.
It's about to change. The blood is about to go from the rivers, and it's going to go from the bodies of men. The blood is going to flow not from rivers, but from the bodies of men. And that's the sign. That's the sign. That's the sign. But here's what God wants us to do. God wants us to acknowledge His hand. If the world will acknowledge my hand, many won't have to die.
In December 2019, UN officials in Somalia declared an emergency. And the reason was right out of the Old Testament. Locusts.
We don't call these emergencies lightly. I don't know, we have to kind of make sure it's going to be an emergency. You can't cry wolf, it's really dangerous.
But Somalia wasn't alone. The emergency declaration there also signified growing trouble across East Africa and in areas as far away as India. Despite increasing equipment and monitoring efforts, the first wave destroyed thousands of hectares of pasture and crops.
Ni kama zitatuharibia kabisa, tutakaa njaa tu throughout the year mpaka next year mwezi wa 10 ndio tutapanda. This year mwezi wa 10.
Over 50 million people were already facing crisis-level food insecurity, right as another plague was spreading.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
The COVID-19 pandemic is far from over. And another massive wave of locusts is here. Locust plagues destroy not only land, but livelihoods. 20% of the land on Earth, as well as 1 in 10 people, could be impacted. How is the pandemic affecting what might soon become a plague? And what will finally put a stop to it? First, let's start with the basics. A locust is a type of grasshopper. Only the type of grasshopper that can fly 150 kilometers, that's 3.5 marathons, in a single day. While there are several different species, the one we're concerned with here is the desert locust, or Schistocerca gregaria. The name refers to what occurs when their environment gets too crowded. Their physiology and behavior actually changes. They become gregarious, and gregarious locusts form swarms. A typical desert locust swarm can contain up to 150 million locusts per square kilometer, consuming the same amount of crops in one day as 35,000 people. Swarms need months of favorable conditions and several successive breeding cycles to happen in order to become plagues. But when plagues do happen, they last for years and require hundreds of millions of dollars to bring under control. Only chemical or biopesticides work. The chemicals are bad for people and the environment in myriad ways, and only one company, Novacrid, makes the biopesticide, which comes from a fungus. If we go back to 2018, we'll find the perfect storm. Cyclones brought heavy rains to the empty quarter of the southern Arabian Peninsula, which allowed 3 generations of breeding to occur, undetected and uncontrolled.
The sizes of these areas are, 4 or 5 times the size of Germany, so it's really, really hard. Also, you've got conflict, so you can't monitor in areas that are unsafe.
But there's another major factor that's helping swarms to travel and swell.
The biggest problem today is the climate change.
Climate change is also complicating our efforts to predict.
Because
of them, I got tested. I got an answer to this rash that I've had for 5 days now that nobody has even had an answer to or will see me about. So yeah, that's what the government's doing for monkeypox. You know, it's absolutely crazy to me.
U.S. health officials say nearly 800,000 doses of the monkeypox vaccine will soon be available for distribution. There are now nearly 3,600 confirmed cases in 46 states. The U.S.
Go on the